I've just been thinking about reading about studying the story of David and Goliath, and I think it's such a story that we can just put on a back burner. It's a story of David and Goliath, that the underdog wins. But for us to really look at it and to really just have a fresh perspective on it, I think is powerful. And so that's what God's been doing through this story for me lately. And I just get pumped up at the fact that this young shepherd boy who was just serving God, tending to his sheep, goes up to the battle line one day where these Israelite soldiers had been paralyzed by fear of this giant for 40 days and 40 nights. This Goliath, had been taunting them and coming out twice a day saying, hey, send one of your men to fight. And if you win, I serve you for the rest of my life. And if I win, you serve me. But because Israelite soldiers, God's chosen people, were so paralyzed by this giant, they cowered down in fear and they didn't move. And I believe today that God is saying, hey, don't be like these soldiers. I've made you for more. I've empowered you. I've equipped you with everything that you need to fight the good fight, to fight these giants. That's what he's calling his people up to today. And so, to backtrack, David walks on the scene to bring his brothers who were fighting some food, and he's like, whoa, who is this giant that is defying the name of the Lord God Almighty? I'm not okay with it. Let me fight. And I believe that we can be just like David in this situation, that we could say, hey, I'm going to fight this giant, because just like David said, God had rescued him from the paw of the lion and the bear. God has rescued us too. God has proven himself faithful. God is saying, hey, I've been faithful to you. I've equipped you. I've empowered you so that you could fight the good fight of faith. And while our giants might not be a physical 9-foot tall giant like Goliath, for me, my giants are the fear of the unknown, what I can't control, just releasing that to God. Your giants, they could be anxiety or fear or depression or finances or marital issues or family struggles. They can be anything that hinders us from the purposes of God and from walking in the fullness of God. But God says, hey, I want you to switch your focus from fear to hope, from your giant to your God. It is all about perspective today, and it's all about what we choose to focus on. Because you see, David didn't choose to focus on fear. He didn't choose to focus on the size of Goliath. He chose to focus on what God said he would do and who God was. And he chose to focus on the faithfulness of God and the hope of God and the mercy and the grace and the goodness of God. And I'm using my hands a lot because I just get so pumped, but it's the same for us today. And so God's saying, hey, trust me to bring you victory. Allow me to empower you to fight. Don't let fear keep you from the plans and the purposes of God. And so people, that's the message of the gospel, that Jesus came to earth, that died and rose 3 days later to defeat death, to defeat the grave, so that we don't have to live in fear anymore. We can look our giants dead in the eyes and say, you know what? I'm not going to cower down in fear. I'm not going to be paralyzed by fear. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fight, and I'm going to have hope that God is going to send you down to the grave where you belong, and I'm going to live with power, and I'm going to live with hope, and I'm going to live every day like God is who he says he is. And do we always get it right? No, we don't. But can we continue to push forward, and can we continue to believe that good things are going to happen, and that we can live fearless, and that we can live faithful, and that we can live as God's chosen people, his royal priesthood, a people who he's called out of darkness and into his marvelous light, that will accomplish his good purposes and his will for our lives? Yes, we can, because we serve a God who is able. And I just wanted to encourage you with that today. Stare your giants dead in the face and say, you know what? You might be big right now, but my God is bigger, and he's going to take you down. And I am going to live with faith, and I'm going to live with hope, and I am going to live with power today, because I am God's and God is mine. So look, I love you. I hope that spoke to you, just bringing you a little encouragement with Emily. So I hope you have a great rest of the week and you live loved. Love you guys.